Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams.
All right. I did not plan on doing this today, but welcome in, Detroit Lions fans. As you see from the headline, the AP voting is done. The roster has been revealed. And yes, in my humble opinion, I feel like this is just another snub job for a certain player that we're going to talk about on the Detroit Lions here in just a moment. But, however, I didn't think this was done until February. Maybe I'm just way off on the timing, but I thought this was done later on, closer to the Super Bowl. But it is what it is. It's done now, and so all the cats are out of the bag. All the players have been named, and first team, second team. That's what we're going to talk about right now and give you my 2 cents on this. But there's just one player that I really want to talk about towards the end of this as the reason why I feel like this is just another snub job by the AP. I can't stand the AP. I mean, there's a lot of great writers out there. There's a lot of good human beings doing their job. But every year we get some BS that happens, whether it's Pro Bowl voting, which is not the AP, or it's now, the All-Pro team, which is the AP. And I feel like there needs to be some changes that'll never happen. So here we go. Let's get into the AP All-Pro rosters. Okay, first up is going to be first team. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. And just, at 11:51 a.m. is when this came out, so just not even an hour and a half ago. Your first team offense quarterback, Lamar Jackson. I am very surprised with this. Very, very, very surprised with this. I mean, did he have a good season? Absolutely. Do I feel it was all pro worthy? Some aspects, yes. Running back, Saquon Barkley, without a doubt, dude deserves it. Full definitely deserves to be there, without a doubt. Left tackle, Tristan Wirfs. He's pretty good. Are there better? Maybe. Left guard, Joe Thuney. Good pick. Center, Creed Humphrey. I'm not going to go into all the stats for each one of these guys, but I could probably make arguments for a lot of them. Not just Lions fans, or not just Lions players, but for other players in the NFL. But Creed Humphrey, pretty solid center. Right guard, Quinn Menierez. Good season for Denver. Now, Penei Sewell, right tackle, absolutely deserves to be there. He's had, one of the toughest seasons, in my opinion. He's gone up against some of the best defenses in the NFL, some of the best rushers in the NFL, and he's done a absolutely beautiful job. He's only allowed, a couple times to get to Jared Goff this season. He's done a phenomenal job. And with Kevin Zeitler next to him, it's been such a good pair on the right side of that offense. And you want to talk about a dynamic duo with, Sonic and Knuckles, or Montgomery and Gibbs, that are having a hell of a season, or had a hell of a regular season on the ground. A large part of that is because of those two on the right side, but Penei Sewell. Watching him climb to the second, to the third level and making blocks. One of the best athletes in the NFL. Just an incredible dude. Character-wise, he's exactly what this team wants and fits. He is where this team started in 2021. This is how Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell decided to start the culture and build an identity, was with this man, Penei Sewell. Congratulations. All right, next up, defense. Edge rushers. Myles Garrett. You can't not have him on this list. You absolutely cannot. I know a lot of Lions fans will love to see this guy come to Detroit. To have that kind of production that he has on, a crap team. He does it year in and year out. And it's all for nothing, because that team is going absolutely nowhere. Individual awards kind of get old over time for some of these guys that just want to finish at the pinnacle, at the mountaintop, which is a Super Bowl. And it's never going to happen in Cleveland. Trey Hendrickson, Cincinnati, another name that was flirted for the Detroit Lions this offseason. and even close to or during the trade deadline, obviously not going to happen. Guy's going to make a boatload of money. He's going to get a huge bump in his salary, after this All-Pro. But both these guys absolutely deserve where they are. Interior linemen, Cameron Hayward, Pittsburgh, Chris Jones, Kansas City. I think those are good selections. Linebackers, Zach Bond and Fred Warner, San Francisco, and Roquan Smith, Baltimore. I could have definitely made some arguments for some other players in the league. There could have been some from the Broncos. There could have been some from Minnesota. Van Ginkel comes to mind for Minnesota, but there's others that I could have made arguments for. I'm not sold on this linebacker group. They're all phenomenal players. Absolutely. Just not sold. Definitely not sold on Fred Warner after the video that I did that showed, him as an individual. Not so great. Cornerbacks, Patrick Surtain, absolute dog this season, has had an incredible season. Had Carlton Davis finished the season healthy, could there have been an argument for Carlton Davis to make this list? Now, not a bunch of interceptions, but the way that he played and the stats that he put up or didn't allow, you could make an argument. Maybe not first team, but you could make an argument for Carlton Davis in the season that he had this year. You absolutely could. Just not first team. Derek Stingley, Houston, one of my favorite products coming out of the draft a couple of seasons ago. He's really developing into a really good corner in the NFL. Marlon Humphrey, Baltimore. I don't think that this is a surprise here. I think he's had a great season. And if you notice, what's happening here, a lot of teams, obviously, that are in the playoffs are having great success at bringing, phenomenal athletes into their building and producing. Safeties, absolutely deserved of this. Kirby Joseph. We thought that, after the Pro Bowl snub, that maybe it was going to follow suit into the All-Pro. And you know what? I don't think anybody cares about the Pro Bowl other than, the players get a bump. It is an accolade that they can put on their resume. But the All-Pro is above and beyond. It is the top, right? It is the pinnacle of awards, outside of winning a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP. So Kirby Joseph, absolutely deserved of this. Congratulations, Superman. And then Xavier McKinney, clearly he deserved it as well. Phenomenal season for both these guys, leading, the NFL in interceptions. Kirby obviously edged him out to take the crown this season for the most interceptions, which absolutely phenomenal. All right, let's get into the special teams, and we'll get into second team. Chris Boswell, Pittsburgh, place kicker, had a hell of a season. Now, I don't have stats in front of me for the kickers, but I would like to compare what Jake Bates did this season to Chris Boswell. And is there an argument that could be made there? Is Jake Bates even going to get any sort of consideration? The guy absolutely had a phenomenal year. But again, I'm going to put my bias aside. If I had an AP vote, it would be very tough. I understand. But I would look at the statistical output and what that player did for their team first. Punter, Jack Fox. We know that Jack Fox is the best punter in the league, and he has proved it week in and week out. Absolutely deserves to be on the first team here. Super excited for this guy. Congratulations, Jack Fox. Kick returner, Cavante Turpin. Punt returner, Marvin Mims Jr. Again, I don't have stats in front of me between, like Khalif Raymond. Like, where was Khalif Raymond's stats before he exited this season with an injury comparable to Marvin Mims? Because last I checked, Khalif was like leading all NFL for punt return yards this year. And it might have been an NFL record, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong, but I remember seeing something that said something very close to that. I'll have to go back and look. But had Khalif finished the season healthy, and if he had better stats than Marvin Mims, should he have been mentioned? Probably. Special teamer Brendan Schuler, New England Patriots, and long snapper Andrew DePaola, Minnesota. Now, second team. This is where I got my gripe. This is where I have a problem. Josh Allen is a phenomenal quarterback in the NFL. He's had an excellent season. But this is where it stops for me. This is where I have to show you some things. Here's Josh Allen's stats. Okay, you can see he's got a QBR of 77.2 up in the upper right. He has 6 interceptions to 28 TDs. Great season, right? Great season. 3,731 yards. When's the last time an all-pro didn't throw for 4,000? That's something I'm going to find out later today. Obviously, I'm just doing this on a whim. I didn't put a lot of, time into this to look at all these stats, but I could. And we'll probably have a show on it maybe next week when we can have some more time to really dig in to see who really deserve these. Great season for him. I mean, absolutely great season. But then again, when you think of this guy, Jared Goff, a 4,629 yard season, second most in the NFL. Josh Allen, 14th most in the NFL. 37 TDs through the air, 37th most, fourth most in the NFL. Josh Allen, 28, tied for 7th. Jared Goff, he threw 12 interceptions. But realistically, I mean, the guy probably threw 8, but he's going to accept all 12. Is 12 a bad number? Absolutely not. QBR of 68.5, that is not too shabby, is it? The 6th best QBR in the league. Now, Josh Allen's QBR, yeah, it's a full, 11 points more. It's second in the NFL. But are those the defining numbers that define whether or not you deserve an all-pro? I don't think so. Now, Jared Goff has broken, I can't count how many records this season. The only quarterback that I know in recent history that has thrown for a perfect game and a perfect passer rating in the same season. He's the only quarterback that has had 9+ games in a season with more than 300 yards. He's the 4th quarterback or 5th quarterback in the NFL to throw for 300 games or 300 yards in his first 40 games, his first 9 seasons. Sorry, not 40 games, first 9 seasons. 40 games of 300 plus in his first 9 seasons. And he also averaged, over 70% completion percentage for the entire season. And he had 9 games of 75%? Something to that effect. But when you look at what Jared Goff has done, let's just look at 2022 here, okay? Right down, sorry, I didn't mean to highlight all of it. Right down here. 2022, he had 4,438 yards. 2023, 4,575. So he got better by, 100 and quarter, 140 yards, whatever. 2024, got better again. Another 150 yards thrown. But here's the kicker, right? His average stayed the same between 22 and 23. He added a full yard in 24. How about touchdowns? 22, he had 29. 30 in 23. Added another 7 in 24. How about the point differential for the Lions? 200+ point differential between them and the next team? Pretty insane. Interceptions, 2022, he had 7. 23, he had 12. Well, he didn't throw for more this year. He had 12. What I see is a quarterback that's getting better year after year after year. Now, the interceptions didn't get better. They didn't get worse either. But I think that we could all agree a few of those were, missed calls, right, by refs, no calls by refs, wrong routes being run. Watch the tape. It'll prove it to you. I don't need to sell you. It's there. How about for his long throw? 81 in 22, 70 in 23. Well, maybe his second career best long, 82 in 2024. He's only sacked 31 times. That's pretty darn good. That's less than, 2 sacks a game. In an overall passer rating of 111.8. Pretty incredible season for him. Now, compared to Josh Allen in 2024, like I said, he only threw for 28 TDs. He's a yard less per average. He threw for 6 interceptions. Okay, so that's half of Jared Goff. But he also ran the ball more than Jared Goff. I mean, this is what he does. He threw 483 attempts. Jared threw 60 more on the season. I bet you those 60 more went to Josh Allen's feet, right? Instead of throwing the ball, he's running the ball. Now he took 14 sacks because he runs like crazy. If he was a pure pocket passer, I'm sure that number would go up. But his overall passer rating is a 101.4. Jared is a full 10 points on him. The only thing that I see that Josh Allen has better than Jared Goff is a QBR. That's it. His numbers aren't even close to what Jared Goff did. And this is the one that gets me the most. The completion percentage of 63.6 to Jared Goff, 72.4. Almost a full 10 points better than Josh Allen. So this is my gripe. This is where I have a problem with these all-pro votes. And I get it. This is the second team. Jared Goff should be here. 1,000%. Again, I understand that Josh Allen had a tremendous season. He ran all over the field, made a lot of plays, ended up winning the game in Ford Field. But last I checked, they didn't finish 15-2. They didn't finish with a 1 seed. They didn't break dozens and dozens and dozens of NFL and franchise records. Jared Goff and the Lions did. The Detroit Lions depend on Jared Goff's arm and for him to be a pure pocket passer, not to run the ball. I'm sorry, we got these stupid ads on. Let me turn them off for you guys. This type of stuff, I really don't like to have ads on. I'll turn it on when I'm done. So that's my argument. Now, I would love to know from you guys, obviously in the comments and in the chat. You tell me, would you have put Jared Goff here? If you had an AP vote, put your bias down for a minute. I know it's hard. Would you have put Jared Goff above Josh Allen? I don't think that Jared didn't deserve the first offense, to be honest with you. What's the difference between, what Jared Goff did versus Lamar Jackson? It's not a lot. Yeah, Lamar threw for 4 more touchdowns. Jared Goff caught one in the end zone. I think that equals out. Yardage is about the same. Yeah, so Lamar threw for less than 5 or 6 interceptions on the season? Okay. I don't think that there's much of a difference here between these 3 guys, but I think there's a much bigger difference between Jared and Josh this season. I really do. All right, we'll finish it out. Second team, running back, Derrick Henry. Fullback, Kyle Juszczyk. No surprise. Tight end, George Kittle. No surprise there either. Wide receivers, Terry McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown. Not really surprised here at all. Left tackle, Jordan Mailata, Philadelphia. Left guard, Quentin Nelson. And then there's our boy, Frank Ragnow. Getting the second team all-pro vote for center for the Detroit Lions. Absolutely love it. Frank has been a big staple on this offensive line. Lions can't do a lot of what they do without his brain, man. Frank is an extremely cerebral player, and the way that he plays the game, the way that he commands this offensive line, I think it's just it's astounding, man. Does a great job. Right guard, Chris Lindstrom from Atlanta. Right tackle, Lane Johnson, Philadelphia. And on the defensive side of the football, so edge rushers, TJ Watt, Nick Bonito, Denver. So listed as an edge rusher, but he's a linebacker in a 4-3 scheme. He's an outside linebacker. Andrew Van Ginkel made second team defense. So again, I expected him to be up in the first, but he made second. And I don't know why there's asterisks. Why are there asterisks? Why is the AP putting asterisks next to them? For what? I don't get it. I don't know what it is. Interior lineman, Zach Allen, Jalen Carter. Was Jalen Carter a big miss by the Detroit Lions? Should we have taken Jalen Carter when we had the opportunity? I don't think so. Linebackers, Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner, Zaire Franklin. Cornerbacks, Trent McDuffie and Christian Gonzalez. Slot corner, Derwin James. And safeties, Kyle Hamilton and Budda Baker. Absolutely love Budda Baker and what he does, man. He's a hard-hitting dude. Kyle Hamilton's just been kind of fun to watch. Place kickers, Brandon Aubrey. Punter, Logan Koch. Kick returner, Austin Eckler. And there's our guy right there, punt returner, Khalif Raymond, which, again, I thought should have made first team, but he made the second. Again, I think if Khalif stays healthy, he is without a doubt a first-team All-Pro this year. Without a doubt. Special teamer of the year, JT Gray, and long snapper, Ross Matisic. Asterisk, so tied for second team spot is what they're putting in there, so there must have been multiple votes that had them tied. So that's it. That's your 2024 AP All-Pro selections for the first team and second team rosters. So what is that? That is Khalif Raymond. That is Frank Ragnow as your second team. And there should have been a seventh with Jared Goff. So you guys tell me, man, did they miss the boat here? Brandy Goffey says Goff should have been number one. Allen rushed for 12 TDs. Yeah, I mean, and that's what I get it. But when you put what Jared Goff has done this season, he caught one and threw 37. So he had 38 TDs on the year. And then he also handed the ball off to allow Jahmyr Gibbs to run for 20, or have 20 touchdowns this season. What was it, 17 or 16 on the ground, whatever it was? No, it was 20. Wasn't it 20 on the ground? Either way, the point that I'm trying to make is this offense is designed to where you don't need a quarterback that has to run. And I think that what Josh Allen has done is commendable. I mean, it's amazing what he's able to do with his legs. It's not going to last. He's not going to be able to do it for another 5 seasons in the NFL. At some point, the legs stop working, and the hits keep coming, and you put yourself out there, you're going to get hurt. What Jared Goff has been able to do, standing behind that offensive line. I mean, look what he did on week 18. He just stood there and took a huge hit, completing that pass to Jamison Williams. He has been one of the most durable quarterbacks in the NFL since he stepped foot into the NFL. As a matter of fact, Fisher, the former coach of the Rams, he just said that not too long ago, how incredibly durable Jared Goff is. When you look at him, and he looks like a pencil, right? He's real thin, he's lanky, he's tall, doesn't have a whole lot of meat on him. You wouldn't think that he's durable. But even Fisher backed him up to be one of the most durable quarterbacks he's ever seen. He just takes a lick and keeps on ticking. So, look, I'm super proud of what Jared Goff has done. He gets my AP vote, even though I don't have one. He definitely belongs in this All-Pro. It's really disappointing that he's not in here after the season that he's had, because here's what I'm going to say. How possible is it for you to go in 2025 and throw for another 4,600 yards, 37 touchdowns to only 12 interceptions, have a quarterback rating of a 111.8, a QBR of 68.5, which is pretty damn high. Not a whole lot of quarterbacks get a 65 even. Right? For Jared's career, he had a 56, a 63, a 50, a 50, a 45, a 63, a 61, and this year a 68.5. That's incredibly tough to rise in the QBR discussion. It takes a lot of things that you're doing right to make that happen. And on the other side, he also threw only 390 completions. Last year, he threw for 407. So on less completions, he threw for more yards, which means he's throwing the ball deeper, right? So anyway, Jared Goff is definitely my number 2. He belongs there. Let's see. J-Man 0614 says, "Hey, Will, this season has been wild. Really appreciate you grinding for this day in and day out." Hey, man, it's every day. What's going on with the sound, Dale? You guys not have audio? Because I just changed everything in my OBS, so you should have audio. Let's see. J-Man says, "Isn't Goff the only quarterback this year with a perfect completion game?" Yes, 18 of 18. I don't know why the audio would go wonky or something going on in the stream. That's more than likely YouTube. YouTube's been having issues the last couple of days. Yeah, so is it a popularity contest? Probably. I mean, you can't trust anybody. Can't trust anybody in the AP. Anyone that's got a vote, you just, I mean, we're all humans, right? We're all humans. So that's all I wanted to touch on was the All-Pro. I think that it's incredible that we had, 6 players in the All-Pro again this season. I think that there should have been a 7th. And maybe next year Jared Goff can, I don't know, win enough hearts and minds over. I mean, hell, it's even hard enough for him to win his own fans over. That's, some still think he's a damn bridge quarterback. The guy dusted the NFL this year with what he did. He's had an incredible season, and now he's going to go finish the job. And at the end of the day, I'm sure that Jared Goff could give a rip about any of this because he wants to hoist that Lombardi, and he wants to walk that thing through the streets of Detroit. And I hope that he does. And I'm sure that he will. We'll see you guys in the next one. Have a wonderful day. Take care.
Locked on Detroit.